discuss about the venous drainage. As the common idea is, internal and external iliac veins join to form common iliac vein, which join to form inferior vena cava and drains into heart. Now we'll see how these are formed. We'll discuss the branches of internal iliac vein. First, we'll discuss those branches that are given outside the pelvic wall, and then we'll discuss those branches that are given inside the pelvic wall. As we have already discussed about the internal iliac artery in the arterial supply, so same branches that the artery gives, the vein has same tributaries. Now you can see internal iliac artery gives the inferior gluteal, superior gluteal, lateral sacral, obturator and pudendal vein. These are all the branches that are given outside the pelvic wall. And now those that are given inside the pelvic, the pudendal vein, we can discuss it. It is given outside the pelvic wall. You can see it is formed when the posterior and transverse perineal branch unite to form perineal vein, and perineal vein combines with the dorsal vein to form internal pudendal vein, and the inferior rectal vein also drains into the pudendal vein. This was all about the pudendal vein. Now we'll discuss those branches that are given outside the inside the pelvic wall. These are the vaginal artery, uterine artery, middle rectal, and inferior rectal we have already discussed, and the superior rectal. Inferior vesicle also receives some branches from prostatic artery, as we have already discussed in it here. Okay. Now, both the internal and external iliac joins to form common iliac, and common iliac will form inferior vena cava. So, common iliac receives iliolumbar vein. In arterial supply, we have discussed that iliolumbar, lateral sacral, superior gluteal all supply the sacroiliac joint. But in this, you can see that common iliac receives the iliolumbar vein from the joint, and at the junction where both the common iliac arteries unite, we receive median sacral vein as well, same as we have done in the arteries. Okay, now the common iliac, both common iliac veins join to form the inferior vena cava. Now inferior vena cava receives some lumbar veins. The lumbar vein received by inferior vena cava are L3 and L4. Then where L1 and L2 drains? L1 and L2 drains in the ascending lumbar vein, which joins with the right subcostal vein to form the azygous vein. So azygous vein on the right side, and on the left side, as you know, there is an accessory hemizygous vein and azygous vein. So the hemizygous vein receives the lumbar veins, left lumbar vein, and that is L1 and L2 on the left side, with joins with subcostal vein to form a hemizygous vein, and these drain into the superior vena cava. So now after lumbar veins we have, okay, then comes the renal veins. How renal veins receive the tributaries on the right and left side. Okay, on the left side, remember that the gonadal veins and the left suprarenal veins drain into the left renal vein. As we have discussed, the clinical panpeniform plexus also, from the left, here we have written gonadal veins. Panpeniform plexus drains, and which can cause varicocele. Now on the right side, renal vein drains in inferior vena cava. How it is formed? It is formed, as you can see here, the efferent arterioles form peritubular capillaries. Peritubular capillaries drain into interlobular veins. Interlobular veins form the arcuate vein. Arcuate vein form interlobar, then lobar, and the segmental, five segmental veins, which joins to form two veins, and which drain into right renal vein. Same is the case for the left. Okay, so now we have done, okay, the left suprarenal drains into renal vein, and the right suprarenal directly into the inferior vena cava. Similarly, the left gonadal vein drain into renal, left renal, and the right gonadal drain directly into the inferior vena cava. Okay, so this is the right renal. Then finally it receives some hepatic veins from the portal vein, hepatic veins, and finally opens in the diaphragm at the level of T8, and some also inferior phrenic veins drain here. So this was all about the venous drainage.